Welcome to the latest edition of Weather or Not. We have your nature in the news stories, including watermelon snow and radium in streams. Andy will have your weekend forecast, and Bree has a feature on droughts. Don't go anywhere. Weather or Not starts right now. Good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Kristy Steward.
And I'm your forecaster, Andy Moffitt.
Well, Andy, we had quite the mixed precipitation event this past Wednesday. We had snow, sleet, and freezing rain, and even Penn State classes were canceled. Will we be seeing anything like that in the near future?
So it doesn't look like we'll have anything quite this intense for this weekend, but it does look like maybe a chance of some snow on Friday. I'll have more on that in my forecast coming up.
Sounds great. Looking forward to hearing more about that. But without any further ado, here is Nature in the News. We all know to avoid eating yellow snow, but we should also avoid eating pink snow. Pink snow, or better known as watermelon snow, gets its unique coloring from algae. This algae helps accelerate melting by absorbing more sunlight and serves as a huge problem in Arctic areas, where glaciers are already rapidly retreating. Some algae can even survive throughout the summer and last into next winter, helping to accelerate melting once again. While watermelon snow is most commonly found in Arctic areas, it has recently been spotted on Grinnell Glacier in Glacier National Park, Montana. This algae, coupled with the above-average temperatures the park has been experiencing lately, has scientists concerned about what's in store for the park's future.
As of 1 p.m. Eastern Time Wednesday, the season snowfall total was 152.1 inches at Erie International Airport, more than 12 feet of snow. This breaks the previous snowiest season of 2000 to 2001, which had 149.1 inches. Snowfall records date back to the 1931-32 winter season, according to the National Weather Service. The average snowfall to date through February 5th for Erie is 69.6 inches, which is less than half the amount that has already fallen. An average season sees 100.9 inches of snow, indicating that roughly 30 inches of additional snow should fall the remainder of the season. Any additional snowfall this season would add to the already impressive snowfall total. This record was set with the help from a stationary lake effect snow band, which dropped an incredible 65.1 inches of snow from Christmas Eve through the morning of December 27th of 2017. However, since Lake Erie is now over 93% covered with ice, the likelihood of an additional significant lake effect snow band is minimal.
The world's most powerful rocket is now in use. SpaceX's Falcon Heavy had a successful maiden launch in Cape Canaveral, Florida on Tuesday afternoon. Falcon Heavy is composed of 3 first-stage boosters, which are actually 3 Falcon 9 rockets strapped together, and 27 engines that lifted 119,000 pounds into space. The only rocket ever greater than this was the Saturn V that sent humans to the moon. To reduce future launching costs, SpaceX successfully recovered the 2 side boosters on the coast of Florida, but was unable to recover the center booster set to land on a ship in the Atlantic Ocean. Falcon Heavy carried a red Tesla Roadster driven by a mannequin in a spacesuit named Starman. Written on the dash is "Don't Panic," and painted on the circuit board is "Made on Earth by Humans." The Roadster is set to orbit Mars for 1 billion years. With this successful launch, SpaceX made the Falcon Heavy operational, and it will launch multiple times every year, with 2 more launches already planned for 2018.
Despite a 2011 Pennsylvania guideline curbing the discharge of wastewater from the hydraulic fracturing or fracking industry to water treatment plants, high levels of radium are still settling in some of the state's stream sediments, according to a new study. The results suggest that some treatment plants that process wastewater derived from conventional oil and gas production are releasing this carcinogenic radionuclide. In some sediment samples, the radium activity reached 25,000 becquerels per kilogram, about 14 times as great as the threshold at which some states require solid radioactive waste to be disposed of in a licensed facility. During both fracking and conventional oil and gas production, saline water enriched in naturally occurring radionuclides is extracted from rock formations and flows to the surface as wastewater. In Texas, Oklahoma, and many other oil and gas producing regions, operators dispose of this wastewater by injecting it into deep wells. But in Pennsylvania, where the Marcellus Shale formation has supported a fracking boom, the underlying geology precludes deep well injection, says Duke University geochemist Avner Vengosh. As a result, some of this wastewater in Pennsylvania has been shuttled to treatment plants to remove contaminants and then released into local streams. And I'm back now with the Central Pennsylvania weather forecast, and if you've been tired of the snow that we had this past week, it looks like we're going to be getting out of that here coming up for this weekend. On Friday, you're going to have to deal with a few flurries in the area, but really no new accumulations. To get heavy accumulating snow, you'll have to head off towards the west. Areas just south of Lake Michigan will be getting a decent amount of new snow on Friday. Saturday, this weather system moves a little bit closer to our area. We'll be dealing with some mixing of rain and snow, especially in the morning hours, transitioning to just rain showers in the afternoon. And then on Sunday, pretty much just some rain showers. It's going to be too warm on Sunday to be getting any snow. We'll have temperatures in the low 40s. So taking a look at those temperatures on Friday, like I said, flurries, no accumulations from this, maybe a dusting here and there, but you're not going to notice it unless you try. And we'll have a high temperature of 33 degrees. And then Friday night will dip down once again below freezing, 25 degrees, overcast skies. It's going to be a calm night, but quite cold. And then Saturday, 41 degrees, a mix of rain and snow. We'll start out with some snow showers in the morning, most likely, transitioning to rain showers as we warm up into the low 40s. Sunday looks to be just a couple degrees even warmer, with a high temperature of 43 degrees and rain showers around the area. Not much in accumulations from these, so you don't need to pack an umbrella necessarily, probably likely just a light raincoat. And now Bree has a feature on droughts.
You may have heard of major droughts happening around the world, like in India or Somalia. South Africa is currently experiencing its worst drought in over a century. You may also be wondering how this may affect this country, and more specifically Pennsylvania. A drought is a prolonged period of time with drier than normal conditions that cause a decrease in water supply. Changes in atmospheric circulation and land and sea surface temperatures can cause the atmosphere to dry out, and if this happens long enough, then a drought can form. Heat release from the surface of the earth can lead to temperature gradients in the atmosphere that cause these changes. The amount of precipitation that falls varies throughout the world. This also varies annually at specific locations, however, the average amount remains relatively constant. It is difficult to determine an actual time span for droughts, for they can occur for up to several years before they are noticed, and the same goes for an ending of a drought. If a dry period persists where there is no precipitation or water supply, it can be detrimental. Droughts cause negative economic, environmental, and social impacts. Droughts can cause wildfires and loss of wetlands, lakes, and wildlife. Droughts can also be very harmful to humans, for it can cause health issues or loss of life. Droughts can even cause a loss of fun, for many recreational activities rely on a significant amount of water supply. This in turn can also cause a major economic loss for communities. Agriculture is another major industry that can be affected by droughts and has significant implications for Pennsylvania. National Weather Service hydrologist Charles Ross describes what can happen in this situation.
You know, as water levels get low, sometimes they may have issues where they're not able to take the amount of water maybe from a stream or from a groundwater source that they're used to. And so on the bad years, which we don't have a lot of in Pennsylvania, but they do happen from time to time, agriculture can certainly become pretty heavily impacted.
How do scientists predict and relay information about droughts?
In the state of Pennsylvania, drought is monitored closely by the State Department of Environmental Protection in Harrisburg. And when we get into dry conditions, they'll get a team together, and the National Weather Service is one component. There's a whole variety of different agencies, federal and state and local groups that get together and we go over what's going on across the state at the time. Is the drought because we haven't had enough precipitation? Is it because water levels are really low? There's a wide variety of reasons that can cause drought, and if there's a reason to, they will declare drought at the state level. So the Weather Service, we're kind of an advisory role for them, but because drought is so weather dependent in Pennsylvania, we actually have a pretty big part in helping them make that decision.
So how can you help during a drought?
Drought gets worse is we call on people to try to reduce water consumption, whether it's not washing your car, watering the lawn, just trying to, each person, each individual trying to reduce water consumption a little bit at a time. And that's for personal use. And then if the drought is bad enough, certain areas, people that take a large amount of water maybe for agriculture or for municipal uses, they can have impacts as well.
All of these precautions, if taken, can help tremendously and prevent further damage to an area that can be affected. You can find information about droughts in your own area of the country from a variety of sources, including the National Integrated Drought Information System and National Drought Mitigation, as well as others that partner with them. For Whether or Not, I'm Bree Guy.
And I'm back once more with your extended forecast, but first, a quick look at the weekend recap. On Friday, flurries, 33 degrees for your high temperature. You won't notice those accumulations on Friday unless you go out and try to find them. And then on Saturday, rain and snow, 41 degrees for your high temperature. Sunday, a couple degrees warmer once again with 43 degrees and just some light rain showers here in State College. Looking at the extended forecast, Monday we will start out a little bit cooler than the weekend with a high temperature in the middle 30s, but then Tuesday we begin to warm back up into the low 40s, and on Wednesday just some light rain showers once again with a temperature in the low 40s. Thursday it looks like we cool back down slightly into the beginning of the weekend, but still nowhere near as cold as we've been parts of this winter, and it doesn't look like any big storms anytime soon.
Well, it doesn't seem like we have any major systems on the horizon.
Right, and we really don't. Midweek next week, we'll have a couple chances of some showers and maybe some snow flurries, but nothing that looks like it might cancel classes here at Penn State anytime soon.
Well, that's good. And speaking of Penn State cancellations, earlier in the show, we asked you, when was the last time Penn State closed due to weather? Was it A, March 14th, 2017, B, March 4th, 2015, C, October 29th, 2012, or D, February 14th, 2007? If you guessed A, you are correct. However, all the dates listed have been previous Penn State closures. Penn State actually canceled last year during the March 14th snowstorm, which brought close to 10 inches of snow and even higher amounts in New England.
I definitely remember that storm, and both March 4th, 2015 and February 14th, 2007 featured ice and snow events, while the reason behind the October 29th, 2012 storm cancellation was actually Hurricane Sandy.
Well, that's very interesting. And another interesting fact is that the last two Penn State cancellations that we have had been on math holidays.
That definitely is an interesting thing, and when you take a look back, that March 14th, 2017, that's actually Pi Day, and then this last cancellation we just had on Wednesday, which was February 7th, 2018, or 2/7/18, is actually E-Day, and that's for Euler's number. So it is interesting, and it makes you wonder what's going to happen as we head towards this next Pi Day coming up on March 14th, 2018. Maybe another snowstorm in the forecast? Who knows?
Yeah, it seems like we have a kind of a trend going on here
yes, it
now.
Does.
Well, that's all the time that we have for this episode of Whether or Not. I've been your host, Kristy Steward.
And I've been your forecaster, Andy Moffitt.
Have a great night, everybody.